So Sonos seems to be back on the regular cycle of releasing firmware on a monthly basis, and it happens around the third Tuesday of every month, and the last one was launched on the 17th of October for this particular version 15.9, and this time round both the app got upgraded to 15.9 as well as the firmware on all the Sonos speakers that you have to 15.9. So what changes? Now up front, I'd like to give you a summary so you don't have time to stay around. You can go on and update the firmware. The update is good to go. It doesn't break anything, but I do have to give you a couple more pointers for the upfront summary. First, the front firing center driver for the Era 300, if you're going to be using them as your surround speakers for the Arc or the Sonos Beam, they are still not going to be firing the sound out from the front firing center speaker. So nothing is going to come out from there. They did mention that I thought they were going to fix it, but well, to me, it's good that they didn't fix it because I don't want the sound to be firing out from the center driver. Not sure about you. A lot of you guys want that to come out, but not me personally, right? The second pointer is that the iPhone 15, which is the 15, I have the 15 Pro Max here, it is still not supported for Trueplay. I thought that they would have done something quick this time round and maybe release it about a month after the iPhone 15 Pro Max was made available, but so far you still cannot do Trueplay using the iPhone 15, any model of the iPhone 15. Well, other than that, there are no major sound changes, but the update did take quite long this time round. Now, if you have time to stay on, I'd like to take you through a more detailed analysis for 15.9, especially on the one point that I think Trueplay might have been adjusted. I don't know. There are so many variables every time you do a Trueplay, so there are changes that could have been influenced by the time and the place and how you actually wave the phone around when you're doing Trueplay that I don't know whether it is actually a change or not. But let me get to that in just a little bit. Now, like I mentioned, the update took very long this time, and I timed the whole thing. It took me more than an hour. Now, the reason I would say it is because I do have quite a lot of Sonos speakers around. I'm approaching the limit of 32 units, and with the Sonos Move 2 added to the whole setup, I think I'm probably one speaker shy of 32. But anyway, so the update took very long. It failed 2 or 3 times and I had to cycle through. And the last time when it said it failed, I actually tried to redo again and it says that no update was found and well, everything is up. But there was one problem though. There is a Era 100 sitting in the background there that does say that it is still updating. I don't know. I'm not able to access it right now, but I'll give it a little bit more time and I'll let you guys know in the video comments section down below if it comes online slightly later after I do this video. So as mentioned, there are 2 changes. If you have not updated the app, you do need to update the app. The app can be downloaded from the respective app store on Google Play Store or the iPhone's iOS App Store. So that is one update. The second update is once you've done that, you go into the S2 app itself and you update the firmware and it should take you through the whole process. Mine took quite a while. Yours might be a little bit faster. So once you have done the update and you go into the whole system, you'll realize that actually there are no UI changes. So Sonos said that there are bug fixes and performance enhancement. I didn't find the bug fixes and I didn't find any performance enhancements, not that I was very aware of. So the other thing is whether it affected the sound or not, which I'll touch on in just a little bit. Now, some of you out there have commented that the whole Arc system was throwing out pops. I think it could be Apple Music. I'm actually not very sure, but there was some popping issue which I haven't encountered, so I can't actually test it. I can't actually tell you whether it is actually resolved or it is not. So otherwise, there are no changes to the entire app at all. So Sonos is going to put my videos out of business very soon because if they keep doing this of no changes, not much changes, then there's really nothing much and nothing interesting to say for these kind of update videos which I bring to you when it comes to 15.9 or even any other version that is coming up. Now, now is October, so November and December you have 15.10 and 15.11, and that should round up the year before 16 comes. Now, when 16 comes, I hope it brings some exciting features like allowing the Sonos M, which is currently driving my ceiling speakers, to act as independent and individual top firing speakers for the Atmos setup, and that will be great for me. I have asked for this feature for quite a while, and it hasn't come by. Not sure why they wouldn't do it, but it will be something that will really push some of us fans to really invest into a whole Sonos setup, which includes the M, to add real, actual firing, downward firing, ceiling speakers for Atmos effects, and that will be way better than any upward firing speakers on the Sonos Era 300 or on the Sonos Arc itself, or those simulated by the Sonos Beam Gen 2. Maybe if they did that, then they might actually impede on the sales of the Sonos Arc, because you don't actually need the dedicated upward firing speakers for the Arc anymore, and you could do with the Sonos Beam Gen 2. I'm not sure if they are keen to do that. Now the Sonos Arc Gen 2, maybe, or it could be due for renewal very, very, very soon, because the Arc Gen 1, the current Arc, was launched in June of 2020, and by the time, sometime in about half a year's time, maybe, they should and they may actually come out with the Arc Gen 2 already. Well, this is speculative on my part. I'm not leaking any information. I don't know for sure, but a 4-year release cycle from that sounds about right. I am not very sure whether they're going to come out with the Arc Gen 2 or even the Sub Gen 4. Well, the Sub Gen 3 is actually performing really, really well. And in fact, if you move from the Sub Gen 1 to the Gen 2 to the Gen 3, there wasn't appreciably a lot of performance improvements. Yes, the Gen 3 allows for dual sub, but nothing more than that. So maybe for the next release of the software, we do want to see some interesting and exciting features that is going to come out, which may end up supporting new software, new hardware releases like the Arc Gen 2 or the Sub Gen 4. Or maybe a revised Sonos M. Now, I really got to get into the sound profile of the 15.9. Now, 15.9, you can rest assured that it's going to sound similar to 15.8 at the stock setting without Trueplay. Now, I'm going to bring up a chart right here, and this chart here, which is in green, it shows the sound performance of the Sonos Arc when it is on 15.8. So I did this sound frequency response sweep while it was on 15.8. So the system that is in question, that is being tested right here, is a Sonos Arc paired with a pair of Era 300 as surround speakers and a pair of subwoofers, the bigger ones. One is a Gen 2, one is a Gen 3 for subwoofer duty. So as you can see, the sound profile is as what we expected. The bass is strong and heavy, and it goes all the way down to even 20-25 hertz, and it's still holding up pretty strong, as evidenced in the chart. Now, this is 15.8 in green, right? Now, the next curve that I'm going to bring up on screen right now is the red curve. And if you look at the red curve, this is 15.9, exactly the same setup, the Arc with the Era 300 as well as a pair of subwoofers. And well, you can't really see any difference, right? Because there is technically no difference in the sound quality, in the sound delivery, in the sound signature rather, of the whole setup when you're moving from 15.8 to 15.9. So 14.12 brought about a huge change in the sound signature, especially when it came to the subwoofers, and it really panicked quite a lot of us. So a lot of us actually turned off the system updates, auto system updates, and we decide to maybe, have somebody try it out, like this sucker here, and I'll update the software system, and I'll tell you, okay, it's good to go, and you can go ahead and you can upgrade it. Otherwise, that fix from 14.12, which had a broken sound signature, took like 3 months or around there, 3 months to be corrected only in 14.18, and there was a 3 months break where you couldn't really enjoy the sound performance from your Sonos Arc setup. So today, 15.8 to 15.9, you are good to go in terms of sound signature. Now, bear in mind that I did mention that the update was going to take a little bit longer than usual, and you might have to go through the update 2 or 3 times if you have a lot of Sonos speakers at your house, like I do, right? But otherwise, you should be good to go. Now, earlier on, I mentioned Trueplay. So I tried to do Trueplay on 15.8 when it was released last month, and I was already running on the iPhone 15 Pro Max right here. And it couldn't support Trueplay, right? Because usually when Apple releases a new phone, the whole might have changed. So Sonos actually supports Trueplay depending on the device that is being run on. So when I was running the S2 app on the 15 Pro Max, it didn't run Trueplay. It was able to run on the 14 Pro Max though. So with the 14 Pro Max, I was doing Trueplay, and this time round, I still cannot do Trueplay on the 15 Pro Max. So I did Trueplay on the 14 Pro Max. Now I've done videos on how you do Trueplay, and Trueplay can really drive very, very vastly different results depending on how you do it. Now I did the whole crazy thing about going to the edges of the room and pointing the mic off the whole phone while you are waving towards the speaker and bringing it very, very close to the speaker. It brings about a huge signature change in the sound when you do Trueplay in these extreme ways. But if you are interested in the video, do check it out, and maybe you will learn a bit a thing or two about Trueplay. But today I did the normal regular Trueplay where I follow like the lady in the room walking around, and I noticed something. Now this room that I'm in is actually a pretty well treated room, right? I've got foam boards here and there. I've got the ceiling is also a little bit foamed up. There are sound trapping material around the room, and the whole room is carpeted. The whole room is sealed acoustically, and that door right behind me is also a soundproof door. Now the problem is this: when usually I do Trueplay, before and after Trueplay, I don't get much of a difference. Why? Because the room is already okay, right? So Trueplay, what it does is it tries to correct some of the deficient sound bits in your sound profile. If the bass is too low, it pushes it up a little bit. If the treble is too high, it pulls it down a little bit, and it tries to create what Sonos thinks to be the correct sound profile that you should be hearing. But what happened this time round was that, I should show you the curve. So now on screen, you will see the curve that has a cyan color to it. Now the cyan color curve is actually 15.9 after Trueplay. Now if you compare with the red curve, which is 15.9 before Trueplay, you'll see that actually there's quite a bit of difference. So it's got some bump up to the bass department, and the whole treble range has been lifted a little bit. The mid range is kind of like subdued a little bit, so you may not be able to tell a huge difference, but if your ears are active and if your ears are good enough, you might be able to tell that, hey, the overall sound signature is a little bit punchier and it delivers a little bit more kick because it has got elevated treble and elevated bass response. The mid range is slightly, just ever so slightly subdued. But the most important change is actually right about 100 hertz or so, and that's your mid bass region, or rather the higher bass region. And in that particular region, you'll see that this time now, Trueplay actually kicked it up quite a bit. So the whole mid bass region is a little bit more extended and lifted a little bit higher up. Now, how that sounds, you will actually feel that the system is delivering a little bit more energy, because the energy from the mid range as well as the higher end of the bass region, it actually hits you a little bit harder. So when you hear those sound being pushed up a little bit, you'll notice that the sound, or you'll feel that the sound is a little bit louder to you. So this is how Trueplay has affected my tuning this time around. Now, usually in this room, like I mentioned, Trueplay doesn't bring about such a high impact. Now, of course, I would say that depending on the time of the year, the temperature, even the whole atmospheric humidity, sound is analog. Sound is a fickle thing, right? And it changes according to the condition, according to the time, according to the whole setup. It's just very hard to control sound, right? And what Trueplay did today might be different from any other days, and it possibly may not be a design consideration, or rather maybe the engineers at Sonos didn't intend for Trueplay to have any appreciable difference with 15.9, but this is exactly what I observed. Now, don't use my case as the end law of it, right? Because this is in a sample size of 1 and it's hardly accurate. So maybe you could just retry Trueplay on your own. You won't be forced to redo Trueplay this time around when you upgrade from 15.8 to 15.9. But if you are so inclined, you can actually try Trueplay and redo the whole Trueplay process, see whether it makes a difference for you or not. I mean, even my room placement could have changed from the last time. I have a slightly different monitor, and the monitor may be bigger and it could be reflecting the sound. I don't know, right? So I just don't recall Trueplay making such a big difference to my sound in this particular room in the past couple of iterations of the software updates from Sonos. Right, so with that, I'll end today's video, and I'll say that 15.9 is good to go. And if you've stuck with me so far in this video, thank you for staying in tune, and I will catch you in one of the videos right here, which is talking about how I do Trueplay. Or maybe if you are interested, maybe have a listen to one of my later videos, which is right here, and I'll see you in one of those videos.